Mo Salah's going crazy. Erling Haaland consistently goes crazy, but Cole Palmer is still the player with the most goal involvements in the Premier League.
A legendary player like Mo Salah, who's not even... It's not a question of, maybe he's like Steven Gerrard in 2014, when he's... it's over,
I don't see Mark Goldbridge talking about this. I don't see Man United fans talking about this. I think it's extremely positive that Dan Ashworth was sacked. Got to Go Bold, Season 2, Episode 11, here with my great friend Luca, a.k.a. JFTV. How are you feeling, my guy?
I'm feeling very well, Alex. Thanks for having me again on the channel. The last time was so nice. We had to do it twice, I guess. We're back. We're going back to back. And we got some cool stuff we're going to discuss in this episode. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
I love that you're mentioning back-to-back because, yes, we have to talk about those back-to-back losses of Rúben Amorim in the Premier League. We're going to talk about Serie A, and starting off Episode 11, it's going to be the FIFA Club World Cup draw. The trophy is different. The treatment to Lionel Messi could be a bit different. How are we feeling? Initial thoughts here. Luca here with the FIFA Club World Cup draw.
So with the Club World Cup, I'm looking forward to it. It's a very different format compared to the old Club World Cup, how it worked. Obviously, a lot more teams are going to compete in it. Bit questionable, some of the teams that are there and how they got there, like Inter Miami. I'm sure we'll dive into that controversy as well. But no, I think it's going to be a cool new experience and definitely something to look out for in the summer. I do think the new trophy, though, I don't think it's very bold to say it's not as nice as the old one. I definitely prefer the old trophy. But no, I think I like the new concept, the group stages as well. They're very different, There's a lot of teams there that I have never seen play in my life. Even the teams that are in Juventus group. So I'm looking forward to it.
I agree with you, and it's a very interesting process. And the thing that I think FIFA hit the money with, it's more relevant than the actual FIFA Club World Cup currently, okay? People are very interested to see some of these matchups. And yes, you said Inter Miami. We're going to touch base here because Inter Miami is in the group of Porto and Palmeiras, Luca. And Inter Miami was selected questionably because who won the MLS was LA Galaxy yesterday. Marco Reus officially won his first league title. And what is he going to get as a reward? It should be going to the FIFA Club World Cup. But it's not going to be the case. And yes, now FIFA favoritism to Lionel Messi. A lot of questions are being now proposed on that sense because we see to FIFA the best 11. Lionel Messi is also awarded in that sense. So a lot of people can be a bit mad for FIFA in those selections. But again, it's interesting to see Inter Miami, but I would have picked LA Galaxy ahead of Inter Miami for the FIFA Club World Cup because they actually won the MLS. So would you agree with me on this sense, mate?
Yeah, of course, Alex. Of course, you look at the actual team itself. LA Galaxy is a stronger team than Inter Miami as a whole. Of course, Inter Miami have. We'll explain. I'm going to get on to why.
Gabriel Beck, great player of LA Galaxy, and Marco Reus too.
Yeah, of course.
So,
but I wanted to go because they won the MLS, of course. But the PR revolves around Lionel Messi and co. So it was no surprise. It's no surprise that FIFA put Messi's team in it.
And I'm going to say a bold statement at the start here, Luca. Episode 11, the listeners deserve here a bold statement right from the start. And in this FIFA Club World Cup, in Group A, there's a real chance, and I'm going to go bold and say that will happen. Inter Miami can finish last, and I hope they will, because Al Ahly is a top team in the African Cup. They know how to win. The team with most cups won nationally and internationally. Then we have Porto that is going to finish top of that group, and Palmeiras, rest assured, will also beat Inter Miami. So MLS fans, Messi fans, you are warned. The FIFA Club World Cup will not be easy for Inter Miami. And Porto Palmeiras will definitely beat Miami. But Al Ahly is the team that nobody talks about. And in the opening game, they're going to shock the world against Lionel Messi. So I had to go bold, Luca. I got to go bold in this group.
How many minutes has it been? It's been just under 5 minutes. And is that a record? Is that a go bold record? I'm not sure.
And to be fair, too, I have to say this because us Portuguese fans, we know Portuguese. And in Brazil, they also speak Portuguese. And we hear a lot of journalists say Palmeiras, it's an easy group for them. Flamengo, it's an easy group for them. Botafogo, that is with PSG and Atlético de Madrid. Some pundits in Brazil are saying they're going to go through. So Brazilian fans need a reality check. And after the end of this FIFA Club World Cup, I'm absolutely sure they know, compared to European football, they're way back. Way back. I have to mention this. Even though William Estevão will be playing for Palmeiras in this World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, and that is a big threat for any team, okay? Any team, okay? So, yes, Luca, you're a Juventus fan. FIFA Club World Cup, obviously a team like Juventus has to be in this new format at the start. How are you feeling here with Man City here in the same group? Because you're facing them in the Champions League too.
Hey,
Timing!
We got them in a few days, so it seems like fate wants us to reunite in the Club World Cup. But I think our group is nice. I think we'll definitely go through top two. I don't think there should be too many upsets in that group. And look, City, they're a good team. Of course, this season they've struggled a little bit, but so have we. We've had some ups and downs. I mean, we're very similar in the sense that we have a lot of key injuries, both to us, to them. They've had De Bruyne out. They obviously have Rodri out to ACL, Akanji, Ake. And we have a very thick list. We've had 14 injuries up to December, which is abnormal, to say the least. And out of those 14, 12 are arguably key players in the first team, apart from Milik and Adzic, who's a young player. But the Club World Cup, look, I'm looking forward to it. You can't have... When they were doing the what's it called, the sorteggi for it and stuff, like Juventus risked not going because in Europe we haven't performed too well in recent years, so we didn't have the coefficient points, like as many to guarantee ourselves in that position. But I think it was Napoli losing to Barcelona last season in the Champions League. That's what cemented us in there. So thank you to Barcelona as well. Shout out to them for real, because if it wasn't for them, it'd probably be Napoli there right now. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it will be a very interesting competition. I don't think the level of football will be as high, of course, as the Champions League, just because the overall consensus of the teams is weaker. True. But it will be it'll be an interesting one.
Tired. Players will be more tired.
Because it will be right at the end of the season. I have heard, though, that they're extending the transfer window to just before the Club World Cup, so teams can make purchases earlier than they typically would be able to, which will be very useful, especially if teams are running low on players due to injuries or whatever. But like you said, Alex, there's going to be a lot of fatigue with the amount of games teams are playing. You know, the amount of competitions that even Juventus are in this season. We have obviously the Serie A, the Champions League, the Coppa Italia, the Supercoppa as well. We're competing in this year, and the Club World Cup. So it's very fixture heavy.
It's very interesting what you're mentioning, because I was going to lead up to that. Injuries will be a big cause. The FIFA Club World Cup will be a big cause of criticism maybe at the end, because a lot of players, because of fatigue, will obviously maybe have a consequence. Let's knock on wood and hope that will not be the case. And some things I gotta say here too is that Real Madrid won 5 of the last 10 FIFA Club World Cup. So naturally, they're going to be the favorites. And let's see if, until then, Kylian Mbappe solves this mini issue playing here at Real Madrid. And with Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo Goes, we see the strongest. But the player that's most informed currently at Real is Jude Bellingham. I had to mention that here just at the start. And yes, another matchup that I want to mention here that I'm very hopeful is Mbappe versus Neymar. Okay, Real Madrid will be facing Al Hilal, and if Al Hilal has a better FIFA Club World Cup than the MLS teams, everybody's going to be thinking the same. Why don't we see here Al Nassr in the FIFA Club World Cup, and we see Inter Miami that shouldn't be there, LA Galaxy should be there. All the fans will be thinking the same, okay? So Al Hilal, I hope Jorge Jesus goes bold with this group with Neymar. Look, that could be like everybody's pointing fingers at Neymar, and he has one last stance at Al Hilal, and he makes it justifiable. The mega price tag that man's earning, okay? Yeah, but, big bucks.
They need something from Neymar, at least a goal or something from Al Hilal with the amount of money they've invested in this transfer.
Exactly. And because of this fatigue issue, I just want to say, and my last bold statement, and I want you reacting to this, Luca. I was thinking about it. It's like, I really think Chelsea is the favorite to win the European Conference League, and I'll be surprised if they don't win the Conference League.
Yeah,
I think Chelsea has a real chance too, Luca, to win the FIFA Club World Cup. This team is improving with Enzo Maresca. There's many options to play, okay? Injuries will be in a consequence for some teams in the FIFA Club World Cup. Currently, Real Madrid has had 27 injuries this season with players. So Chelsea, with the group they have, the talent they have, and the way they're playing currently, I think there's a real chance we could see Chelsea winning the FIFA Club World Cup. They have to be in the contenders. So wanted to mention that here at the beginning of the podcast, even though Stevo will be playing on the other side. So let us know, people, down below, your thoughts about the FIFA Club World Cup, what you want us to talk about in future episodes about this topic, and go bold and like this video. So, Luca, you're Serie A. Serie A is the most exciting league to see currently. I like that statement too, Luca. How are we feeling here, okay? Because Juventus is 4 draws in a row until now, Luca. Against Lecce, against Bologna, against Milan. How are you feeling, okay? Because you win the derby against Torino, and now 4 draws? How's a Juventus fan feeling?
Of course, frustrated is probably the best adjective to describe the whole consensus of the fan base at the minute. Yesterday, we drew to Bologna 2-2. We were 2-0 down, and we turned it around, and we got a last-minute winner. Beautiful finish from Mbangula. Obviously, we have to shout him out because Belgian international, he started off the season very strong. He was in and out of the team. He started the first 2 games. A bit strange. He played very well in those 2 games, one of our better players, and then he was dropped, and he's just been in and out of the squad. And then yesterday, with that beautiful goal, I do expect him to start against Manchester City as well after that, because I think he deserves it too. But it's been underwhelming, Alex. There's no 2 ways about it. We're still unbeaten in the league, but 9 draws, and a lot of those draws, like you named a few. You know, Lecce, Bologna, Genoa. There's been so many games where I look at and I think those are points dropped. Of course, Inter 4-4. They're not points dropped. That was a crazy game. You know, you can afford to draw at San Siro.
True.
It's the silly points that we're dropping, which defines to me that we're not going to win the Scudetto. But I didn't expect us to win the Scudetto in Thiago Motta's first season. It's a process. It's going to take time. He needs a couple transfer windows to implement his players, getting them to play his style of football, because a lot of these players are Allegri's footballers that aren't able to play in his system. And then also you have to factor in that, like I said earlier, I mentioned it, the amount of injuries is definitely hindering us massively. I don't want to pull out excuses here, but 14 injuries up until December is not normal. And even going into the City game, now we've got Cambiaso out, our most important player in the team. So it's just bad luck after bad luck after bad luck, and we can't catch a break at the minute. We honestly can't catch a break.
But if Guardiola would have seen Andrea Cambiaso play, what would have happened?
maybe it's a blessing in disguise, so Pep doesn't find out who Cambiaso is. Maybe, but no. In all seriousness, yeah, it's a big blow. And I think it will be a good game against City, though. I think it will be an open game because both teams really need the 3 points. But yeah, I think so far this season, I'd say in Europe we're at where I thought we'd be. Maybe the Stuttgart game, the performance wasn't how I expected. That was probably the only anomaly. But in the league, I did think we'd be on more points. I thought we'd be in and around fighting for the Scudetto.
And look, naturally, Thiago Motta is a manager that led Bologna to Champions League football. He improved that squad. He's going to do that with time, and he's already improved many players at Juventus, okay? We can say that as an immediate impact, just like we say with Rúben Amorim. And at Serie A, we see Conte now at Napoli. We see Gasperini at Atalanta. We see Simone Inzaghi at Inter. Top-class managers. It's a tough job for Thiago Motta to win the Scudetto straight away, but I believe that in the second season, with 2 more transfer windows under his belt, we will see a top 2 result. And I believe you can win the Scudetto, okay? Heads up on that sense. But gonna go bold too. I don't think it's too bold, okay? Because Atalanta last season could be considered one of the most underrated teams in football. Gasperini could be considered one of the most underrated managers in football. But right now, He's the man that had the only win against Xabi Alonso last season. He's the man now that, look, is 9 games in a row winning in Serie A. And he's the man now that's improved players like Martin de Roon, Koop Miners that's now at Juventus, Ademola Lookman that is one of the best forwards in the world of football with how informed he is. Retegi, that is the new Zapata. Gasperini does wonders. And I wanted to give this shout out to Gasperini because Atalanta currently are the main contender to win the Scudetto, even though Inter has a top team. Do you agree with this statement, Luca?
It's a very bold statement, Alex. It is a very bold statement, but I don't think it's crazy. It's not crazy at all. I would say I think the top 3 will be self-explanatory by the end of the season. I think Atalanta, Inter, and Napoli will be the 3 teams that fight for the Scudetto, and it will be the first time in, I would say, since pre-lockdown, where Lazio, Inter, and Juventus were supposed to fight for the Scudetto. Then lockdown kind of messed things up, and Lazio fell off in the race. But this is the first time since 2019-20 season where I think it's going to be a 3-horse race. And I think, like you said, Atalanta, they're in crazy form. Gasperini, for me, is one of the best managers in the world. Because when you turn Lookman, who was... He was good in England, but he wasn't elite. You know, he was in a relegated Fulham side. When you turn Retegui, who was in barely survived a Genoa team, when you turn these players from
De Ketelaere,
De Ketelaere, who was a failed player in Pioli's Milan. There's just so many. Koop Miners, who was good in Holland, but he upgraded him to a whole new level. You know. This Romero, you know, Juventus, he couldn't get a sniff in Juventus team. He goes there, he kills it. You know, Hataboa, these guys, these old Kulusevski. I could rattle off so many players that have come through through Gasperini's ranks, and he's just turned into good to elite footballers. And I think this is what sets him apart from most managers in the world. He turns good players into great players, you know, and that's what's so unique about him. He kind of reminds me of Jose Mourinho in that sense, that used to literally level up every player that would ever play for him. So to say Atalanta are the front run is not a crazy statement. They went to Napoli, they turned them over, and of course Napoli play Lazio after this recording. It's the 7:45 game today, so we don't know what happens if Napoli win that game. The Scudetto race could be very, very different, you know.
And Baroni is a great manager at Lazio too. Okay, shout out to him.
What Lazio doing this season, you can't overlook it. Tavares is one of the best fullbacks in Europe right now. If you said that a few years ago, Arsenal fans would have just lost them quick, you know? But I think he might still be the top assist man in Serie A. He was, at least the other week. I'm not sure if someone's overtaken him, but he was for a good period top assist man. We might have to VAR check that. But then I look at it and we've got
top assist man, Conceição, 3 assists. I know, I was seeing Juventus. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, you're right. It is Nuno Tavares. 8 assists, obviously.
8 assists is ridiculous. That's ridiculous for a fullback in
Ketelaere, 5 assists. And in third, Lookman with 4 assists. Going with what you said. And what you said with Mourinho, that Gasperini reminds you of Mourinho. When you said that, I immediately thought Diego Milito and Wesley Sneijder.
Of course.
Those are the 2 players.
Of course. He turned that squad into, well, on paper, it was the best team in the world because it won the treble. And look, Atalanta have Real Madrid coming up. I'm going to go bold, and I think they're going to turn over Real Madrid. I don't even think it's going to be a close game. I hope
and Real Madrid need it. Yeah. This will come out before the game. Real Madrid need that win against Atalanta. That they're currently not even playoffs. Not even playoffs.
And they won't get it, Alex. They won't get it.
Lookman hat-trick like he had against Leverkusen.
I'll give Jude a goal because Jude's my boy and he's one of the best midfielders in the world, if not the best. But Atalanta will still win.
I love it. That is a bold statement. Like Juve? Is Juve going to beat City?
No, we'll draw. I think we'll end up drawing for the 10 millionth time in a row, man.
5th draw in a row. Oh my days, if that happens. Okay, interesting enough. And here in the Serie A section here, is there any player that you want to give a special shout out? Oh yes, obviously here, episode 11. I want to give condolences and support to Edoardo Bove, that we know now
Yes,
he
of
cannot play anymore in Serie A because he had a cardiac arrest, and the league does not allow players that have a cardiac arrest to play again with the device, the defibrillator that stays next to the heart. So Edoardo Bove, let's see if he keeps on playing football, like Eriksen made that choice. And yes, I wanted to show the support to a player that is a great talent, from Roma to Fiorentina currently.
It was very sad because not only it's sad if any person is in that situation, but Bove was having a very, very good season with Fiorentina, playing very, very well, and thoughts and prayers with him and his family, of course, and hopefully he can make a return to football because he was a special player. In terms of place to shout out, there's a lot of really good players, in Serie A.
Andrea Cambiaso not allowed, okay? We already did that in episode 7.
We've done that one. I won't go Juventus then. I'll go... there's a few, man. There's a few. Like Nico Pads from Cormo's very, very good. Very good talent.
And manager Fabregas.
Yeah. I think they're in the relegation zone at the minute, but I do think they'll escape it by the end of the season. I think they'll finish 16th, 17th, around that sort of area. Moise Kean, his redemption arc for Fiorentina this season has been astounding, really. Him and Retegui are. It's quite strange that those two are fighting for the Capocannoniere. No, you'd think.
And Thuram too.
Thuram, of course, yeah, but Thuram we sort of expected he'd be in and around there. But Moise Kean and Retegui, it's very, very impressive. Ederson from Atalanta, he's a top.
What's unexpected is Lautaro not being there. Whoa!
Yeah,
Lautaro. Where's Lautaro here in the top scorer race of Serie A? Retegui 12 goals.
Yeah.
Retegui and Lookman. Oh my days. This is Gasperini's doing. And then you see Lookman and Charles Ketelaere in the top assists. This is insane. People, pay attention to Serie A. It's one of the best leagues in the world of football. No doubts with the quality of managers and players. You said Nico Paz. Like Real Madrid fans, you know. If you're a Real Madrid fan and you don't know about Nico Paz, you're not truly a Real Madrid fan, okay? So let us know down below, what would you like to see with Serie A, and who will win the Serie A? Do you agree with Luca that the title race will be those 3 teams? Let us know in the comments section. And now, with the Premier League, gotta go bold with the start here because the Premier League is not disappointing. The best league in the world currently. Can I get that out of you, Luca?
Look, I think to be honest, Alex, the Premier League has been the best league in the world for quite a few years now. I think it's the highest level of football. It's the quickest. It's the most physical league, and is it the most entertaining league? Maybe I'll say Serie A is, to be honest, in terms of like the points between the teams and how close it is. But I would say the overall level is the Premier League, and of course it's the most unpredictable league now. Chelsea have turned it around as well against Tottenham as we're speaking. So
Cole Palmer and Enzo. Enzo Fernandez got a divorce. Completely different player. Okay, completely different player. But yes, we're gonna.
That's crazy. I'll hold my hands up. Enzo Fernandez, for me, when Chelsea signed him for all that money, I said, not worth it. I said that.
You gotta speak to me sometimes, man. I watched it many times against Benfica.
I know.
And that team in the Champions League, they beat Juventus and PSG. That was a great matchup.
I know, but I said he is not worth that money. And I'm not gonna lie, I was right up until recently. I have to say, Enzo Fernandez, he was a good player, but he didn't make the difference for a 100 million plus player. But now, since that divorce, like you said, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's just not moving 20 goals recently. Maybe goals on his mind, and that's why
since the fact that Maresca puts Slavia and Moisés Caicedo at the same time with Enzo Fernandez, it does allow him to have a bit more freedom on the pitch so he can cook like we saw with Argentina and for Benfica. But for Benfica, he played more of a double pivot. So this is a new version of Enzo Fernandez that Enzo Maresca is doing his magic. But yes, Liverpool seems to be the team to beat in the Premier League. In the Champions League, 100% win rate. Arne Slot has beaten Ancelotti, Xabi Alonso, Pep Guardiola, Erik ten Hag, obviously. 0 goals suffered against all these managers. Do you think Liverpool will win the Premier League or the Champions League this season, Luca? Very bold question.
As of now, Alex, I'd say they're the front runners for the Premier League. But the Champions League is a tricky one because you don't know who they're going to play in the knockout stage, and you got to just take it game by game. It's very hard to see the bigger picture this early on in the Champions League, but they're one of the strongest teams in the world. Definitely top 3. So they're definitely going to be one of the front runners for the Champions League as well if they don't drop off, of course, if they continue this form. But I'd say yeah, right now, if I had to place a bet on who would win the Premier League, I would put my money on Liverpool.
And would you put a bet that Trent Alexander-Arnold stays at Liverpool?
It's interesting because now, you know what? I was at the start of the season, I was convinced next year he'll go to Madrid, like 100% certain. But now I look at it, it's his boyhood club. He's already won everything there is to be won at Liverpool. This season, he could potentially win the treble, even the quadruple. That's how good they are. But then it's a question of, does this Liverpool team could dominate for a long time with Arne Slot, if they make some good replacements as well, because obviously they have a few aging players in the squad too. They could potentially go on and dominate the future. But Real Madrid is Real Madrid, and there's always going to be more PR at Real Madrid. So if Trent decides, I want to go down as the best right back or full back in the history of the game, I want to be Galacticos level, I want to be a Ballon d'Or player, Ballon d'Or contender, the PR is always going to be around the clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona. And at the same time, even if he was to win the Champions League next year and the Premier League with Liverpool, that would be a good send-off for him as well. But I'm more skeptical now on it, because I was certain at the start of the season, yeah, he's going to go to Madrid. Now I'm a bit more 50-50 on it, to be honest. But if I was him, I think I would go. I think I would, to be honest.
Come on, it's the Galacticos. How could you say no to Real Madrid and Florentino Perez handing you the blank check? And Carvajal needs a successor. There's no better successor than a man that has won the Champions League, the man who guided with Jurgen Klopp Liverpool to win their first Premier League in the new era of the Premier League. So yeah, I think it's a good decision. I think it's a good decision.
There, I'd say he would be the second best successor to Carvajal, because you forgot about Cambiaso. I think you just forgot about
And Liverpool have Connor Bradley. That one-on-one against Kylian Mbappe, that man is not going to have some easy sleeps after that night, okay? No. Connor Bradley tackled Kylian Mbappe so many times. That was so beautiful to see. I look like that old man talking about Besaka. Oh my days with Connor Bradley. But that was insane. That was insane what we saw that game. And I agree with you. That it's for Trent Alexander-Arnold to be perceived as the best right back and the best right back ever in the history of football. He has to go to Real Madrid and he has to dominate next to Jude Bellingham, next to Vinicius Jr., next to the best players in the world of football. And yes, you said that Liverpool is currently your favorite to win the Premier League. I completely agree with you in that sense, Luca. If Liverpool win the Premier League and the Champions League, obviously, it's the biggest drop the mic we've seen this century in the Premier League with Mo Salah. Mo Salah wins the Ballon d'Or. Mo Salah, if Liverpool wins the Premier League and the Champions League, drop the mic and I get what? 300 million a year in Saudi Arabia, Mo Salah?
But Alex, we forgot to say, if Messi wins one game in the Club World Cup, they might give it to Messi. That's what they're saying.
Look, FIFA ain't playing. FIFA ain't playing. But I love it. But it's a bit sad though. It's not just sad because we see Mo Salah right now being the most informed player in the Premier League currently this season. And we get this feeling that Liverpool just doesn't want to stay with him. What's happening on that sense? Do you think it's a project thing with Edwards saying too much? Not good enough for the long term? What are you thinking here? Maybe
it's for me, it's a lack of respect. You understand? For me, when you got a legendary player like Mo Salah, who's not even, it's not a question of, maybe he's like Steven Gerrard in 2014, when he's it's over. Salah is still front runner for the Ballon d'Or, one of the best footballers in the world, if not the best footballer in the world right now, best player in the Premier League. He's making the difference week in, week out. It's insane that they're not even considering, renewing his contract. And okay, even if it's a question of he wants 3 years on his contract, right, for 300 grand a week or whatever it is, he's going to give you at least another 1, probably even 2 seasons at the top of football. So maybe
reasonable.
Which isn't a crazy take. So with those 2 years at the top of football, can you really find a right winger on the market, apart from maybe Lamine Yamal, that could do what he's doing, who's not attainable though? So you can't even find a wing on the market that will replace his numbers in the short term. Of course, you could maybe invest in a younger player that maybe 5-6 years down the line could be putting up these numbers. But why not do that when you know Salah is over, or you can see Salah declining at least? Because right now you can't see it. So for me, I think it's a bit strange that Salah has come out and said that there's been no talks on the Liverpool board's part, like the fact that there's no talks about a contract renewal, just because of how he's been playing and how iconic he is for the club. Like, he's never gotten less than 25 goal contributions in the Premier League. And this season, I think he's currently on 13 goals and 8 assists in 14 games. Like, we're looking at, he could break his own record that he set, you know. That's the sort of level that Mo Salah's at. And each season he improves. Like, last season he was more of a playmaker. This season he's more of a goal scorer. He can give you everything he wants. And this is what I think is just so unique about Salah as a footballer. And I do think he's one of the greatest wingers ever in football history. And it's just, you know, nowadays they're even saying that he surpassed Cristiano Ronaldo at United, time spent in the Prem, of course, which is like, that just tells you, like, the fact that this is even a debate shows you how impressive Salah's been.
True. And if he does win the Champions League and Premier League this season, he has to be compared with the European treble Cristiano Ronaldo that won the Ballon d'Or. And he would be a deserving winner of the Ballon d'Or if that were to happen too. So that is very bold. I love when you go bold, mate, because yes, it's very good. And yes, Lamine Yamal is unrealistic to go and replace Mo Salah at Liverpool. But is it realistic to say Rodrigo Goes to leave Real Madrid and go to Liverpool to replace Mo Salah?
That's a more realistic one, because Rodrigo, for me, is mistreated at Madrid. I feel like, not just from the fans, but it's mostly like what he's done for Madrid in the last few years. He just doesn't get the respect he deserves. It's almost like, okay, all eyes are on Vinny. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't be on Vinny, because he's a fantastic player, and so is Bellingham. But Rodrigo's a superstar as well. And Mbappe coming in, probably putting more in the shadows, kind of reminded me a little bit of when Ronaldo signed for Juventus and Dybala was sort of forgotten about, which hurts, especially if you're a Madrid fan. You know, like, that hurt me when Dybala was sort of overshadowed by Ronaldo. I'm not saying Ronaldo's Ronaldo. I completely understand, but Dybala, what he was doing for the club at the time, it was sad to see. So Rodrigo leaving Real Madrid for me is a likely possibility. That's very likely, and that would be a very good replacement to for Mo Salah at Liverpool down the line. I think that would be fine.
And top four, we got to talk about this because, yes, the London Derby, Chelsea keeps on beating Tottenham, as it seems. And look, I got to talk about this because Chelsea has been having an 4-2, 2 goals of Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez masterclass here against Tottenham. I think it's no more a bold statement to say that Chelsea is a team to finish top 4. They're favorites to win the Conference League, and this is crazy. This has to be focused more. Since the start of the Premier League last season, no player in the world of football, in the Premier League, has more goal involvements than Cole Palmer. Mo Salah is going crazy. Erling Haaland consistently goes crazy, but Cole Palmer is still the player with the most goal involvements in the Premier League. And people say this season he's having a bad season. And 12 goals, 5 assists until now. Okay, until now. Cole Palmer makes it happen. So how are we feeling here, Luca, with Chelsea? Because the present and future looks very bold.
Yeah, I think Maresca's doing a very, very good job at Chelsea. He's taken the best out of a lot of players that weren't performing at the top level, I would say. Like, Caicedo has improved under him. Of course, Enzo Fernandez has improved under him. Jadon Sancho's coming into his own as well. Scored a very nice goal against Tottenham today. There's so many, you know. And obviously, Cole Palmer's still putting up great numbers this season. And he's one of the best footballers in the world who literally makes the difference most weeks or every other weekend. So they're looking like a very strong team, Alex. And like you said, for me, the Conference League, it's not really... There's no teams going to drop down from Europa League now with the new system. There's no competition for Chelsea there. If Napoli, I hate Napoli, you know, but I really wish Napoli I really wish they qualified for the Conference League just to make it a little bit more interesting, like a
Last
Napoli-Chelsea
season,
final would have been good.
unfortunately, the team that finished 10th last season in Serie A doesn't get Conference League.
Yeah, but it could have been a possibility had everything gone the Serie A's way. They could have qualified, but no, I think Chelsea win the Conference League. I don't think they'll win the Prem, but I do think they'll give the teams or the teams like Arsenal, City, Liverpool a run for their money this season. And like you said, going into the Club World Cup, they could go in there as one of, if not the strongest team in the Club World Cup, at least top 4, top 5 for sure. So Chelsea are building something good for the future. And look, it took time for them to rebuild after Tuchel left, but they're in a good position at the minute.
Enzo Maresca is the realist, but that can make the dreams happen. I really have that feeling. He has the best out of Pep Guardiola, and he knew about, and he coached Cole Palmer, Romeo Lavia, Liam Delap. There's a real chance. I'm saying here with you, Luca, that Liam Delap could go to Chelsea. There's a real chance. That move for 20, 30 million, it happens. And going with what you said too, Levi Colville, Marco Curella, Cole Palmer, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandes, Madueke, João Felix, and Nico Jackson all improved significantly with Enzo Maresca, and even Renato Veiga, that I'm very happy as a Portugueseman, and Pedro Neto, that they are getting minutes. He does a great squad rotation, and Cole Palmer is not even registered to play in the Conference League, which is a good choice. And next season, we talked about Palmeiras at the start of this podcast, Estevão will be playing for Chelsea. Estevão and Cole Palmer, okay? Estevão, English fans, for you to have some notion about him. Estevão currently is the leading player in goal involvements in the Brasileirão with 13 goals, 9 assists at the age of 17. He is a much better talent, this is bold, than Hendrik. William Estevão. Than Hendrik, okay? Don't have the expectations of Estevão just coming to the Prem and not having an impact. That will not happen. He will be an immediate impact, even though he's played in Brazil. And I know Savio balled out in La Liga, and he's having a tough time going to the Premier League. Okay, 0 Premier League goals currently. Going with just a hint with Man City. What's happening with Pep Guardiola, mate, in your opinion, Luca? This is what?
It's very odd, actually, Alex, because this is the first time I've seen in his career where he genuinely looks worried, almost like stressed, on the edge. Usually, Pep is a very calm, rational football coach that even if the point like games aren't going his way, he's gonna like calm the ship and it's gonna sail well and he'll complete his journey. But this season, everything is going bad for him. Like injuries, the way the team's playing, players dropping off form like Phil Foden, from MVP to the Premier League to getting compared with Anthony statistically is big drop off, It's a big drop off.
Mate, completely. And something that's very unexpected with Man City of Pep Guardiola in this era, we think about them, we think of dominance. And the truth is, this season, 7 goals conceded in the Premier League in the first 15 minutes. They're the team that suffers the most in the Premier League in the first 15 minutes. This does not show security, composure from the players, or the right mindset. Is Rodri out that big of a difference for Man City, Luca?
I thought it would have an impact. I did think it would have an impact, but not this big of an impact, Alex. But can we put it solely down to Rodri? Do you think it's a question of it's only him? Or do you think it's a question of players aging? Players maybe not being as hungry for victory as they once were? I think it's the
recruitment, mate. Because you see, the truth is, Kevin De Bruyne is the only player that's at Man City that was not signed by Pep Guardiola. We see Bernard Silva, that I love, but he's aging. We see Kyle Walker, that is not having a good season. He's aging too. So it's the constant rebuild that Man City are known to do and to be one of the best in the world doing. They're not doing it this season. They didn't have a correct rebuild. And then you see the ideal substitute of Kevin De Bruyne is playing currently at Chelsea. And he was a Man City Academy player. I guarantee you, this is something that must haunt Pep Guardiola's mind, is that Cole Palmer plays for Chelsea and he was in his hands years. And he picked Phil Foden instead of Cole Palmer. And I will go bold, and I see a lot of people comparing Pep Guardiola with Sir Alex Ferguson. I will not say that Guardiola is better than Sir Alex Ferguson. I'll even give you another argument for that. You see Sir Alex Ferguson developing from Carrington and making an historical era. I guarantee you, if Sir Alex Ferguson had a talent like Cole Palmer in his academy, he would never leave Manchester United. Cole Palmer would have stayed, okay? Even though he might not like what Sir Alex Ferguson would say. Just like Cristiano Ronaldo. You think Ronaldo would like to be on that bench? No. I'm sure Ronaldo would be being just rattling why he's not playing and then giving a reason to play. Cole Palmer would have been an elite player if Sir Alex Ferguson was coaching. And with Pep Guardiola, a talent like that is not developed. So I have to point fingers.
No.
Even though Foden, Rico Lewis, Hayward Bellis, he had to leave Man City. Liam Delap, he had to leave Man City. Romeo Lavia, he had to leave Man City. They're not bad players at all. All. So, but Pep Guardiola obviously is one of the best managers in the history of football. I just wanted to give this just that, look, yeah, he's human. We're all human too, okay? So, wanted to mention that. And here, last thing on the Premier League. Manchester United, mates, how are you feeling here? Because Rúben Amorim, back-to-back losses in the league, that's not something he's used to. This past year, and Rúben Amorim was in a 34 unbeaten run in the league with his team, Sporting, and with that win with Everton, and not losing to Ipswich, and now back-to-back losses. So, Luca, what's going on?
What's going on, Alex, is it's not his team. You know, you can't come straight into a club like with Motta and Juventus. You know, it's going to take time for Amorim to adapt to the players he has. He didn't even have the transfer. He hasn't had a transfer window at Manchester United. He wasn't there in the summer. He needs to buy his own players. And I don't think January's never a time for any club to go and buy 5, 6, 7 players. So it will be next summer, I think, where we'll really see Amorim buy in players like or key players that will fit his game.
True.
But I do think Amorim he's a great coach. What he did for Sporting is extremely impressive. And that was a process, you know. He built that, but he built it over time. And I think he'll do the same for Manchester United. I just don't think... I think what the problem with Manchester United is their fan base. And I understand it because they're the biggest club in the country. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. They want success and they want success now. I get it. But you losing to Arsenal, you losing to Nottingham Forest, it's just the process of the players you have not being able to play in Amorim's system, okay? And that's not intrinsically Amorim's fault, and you're going to have to be able to sit back and not be too overreactionary and give it time. And that's not just a problem of Man U, but it's a problem at any big club because they want instant success, and you understand it, of course. But like I was saying, it's just the process, and I don't think it's really alarming for Amorim as a coach, these losses. It's more alarming for the board that they spend so much money on so much dead wood, honestly.
True. I'm going to go with an unpopular opinion that I don't see Mark Goldbridge talking about this. I don't see Man United fans talking about this. I think it's extremely positive that Dan Ashworth was sacked. Because Omar Berrada was obviously not convinced with the skill set of this man, was not convinced with the knowledge of this man. And the two people that will guide this club to success, Manchester United, is Rúben Amorim and Omar Berrada, with an elite sporting director that knows how to sign elite players to play in Rúben Amorim's system, okay? Signing... I don't want to point fingers at the players that just came in because I think all three are going to improve. But it's shocking to me that we don't see, and obviously too, we see in the rumors that Dan Ashworth wanted a British manager. If that's the case, if he wanted Gareth Southgate instead of Rúben Amorim, that decision itself justifies the sacking of Dan Ashworth. Okay, Omar Berrada, if he's in a meeting and Dan Ashworth is saying, look, I think the best manager is Eddie Howe and Gareth Southgate, mate, I would be bollocks. This is insane. Rúben Amorim is obviously the best signing. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I think, was backing on that sense. And a new sporting director will also be aligned, helping this matter be the case of winning Manchester United. But Hugo Vienne, the man that worked with Rúben Amorim at Sporting to win all these titles, Hugo Vienne is going where? To Man City. To Man City. So Man City might know a thing or two that Dan Ashworth was not that guy. And Hugo Vienne, if he was available, there would be a good chance that he would be going to the Manchester United project. But again, I wanted to mention this to Man United fans. Rúben Amorim stating, we're a massive club, but we are not a massive team. We want to improve. This is a message to the fans and a message to the players. To the players. This team has the second biggest wage bill in the Premier League. These players do not match what they're earning, and that is a mega issue at the club, just like staff. Dan Ashworth, I'm sorry, but you didn't have the level to be at the best club in England, Manchester United, with Omar Berrada and Rúben Amorim that will make the club great again. Left wing back is a priority. They need to sign a new one. Malacia will not do it. Theo Hernandez would be the best signing possible. And Nuno Mendes, but a realistic one, Milos Kerkez and Khayan Ait Nouri. But I would like to see Milos Kerkez because I think he would be very good developing under Rúben Amorim. He's young and he's the type of player, like we see with Iraola, crucial to beat Tottenham, to beat City, to beat also Chelsea. Arsenal, sorry. So what do you think here with signings? Do you have any name that you'd like to see at Manchester United? Here, Luca.
Of course, the first one that comes to mind is probably Gyökeres, just because of how efficient he was. It's a bit of a cop out, but just how efficient he was under Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. I think he would tear the Premier League.
Wait. Luca, you're saying Gyökeres because you want Xerxes to go to Juve, no?
No, I'd rather we have Gyökeres, to be honest. But realistically, I don't think we can afford him. But I think Gyökeres, especially in the Premier League, people are starting to recognize Gyökeres for being one of the best strikers in Europe, right? But I think people still underestimate the Portuguese league, the Liga NOS, and what he's doing there. And that's probably maybe a hindering factor to his statistics. But if he was putting up numbers similar to what he's doing in the Premier League or the La Liga or the Serie A, I don't think there'd be a question of his ability. And if he was, let's just say he was averaging even not the exact same numbers that he's doing now in Portugal, but just under, maybe 0.7%, 70% of what he's doing now, right? In the Premier League, he would probably be compared to on the same level as Kane, Haaland, without question, as the general consensus, And I think he would be, he would cook under Amorim, and I think he could definitely be. Let's just say the end to Manchester United's bad luck with strikers, at least.
Gyökeres, mate. Look, he's one of the best players I've ever seen play in football. I've seen Gyökeres play live more than 20 times. Yeah, and I think he would change the lives of Manchester United fans, mate. Mm-hmm. He would. He really would. Okay, 60 goals scored this calendar year. We still have 5 games to go. Victor Gyökeres is a phenom, and I'm lucky to have seen so many games of Victor Gyökeres and Rúben Amorim. Obviously, he would want to see a phenom, making all the fans at Old Trafford go crazy with that celebration. That, look, in terms of PR, it's so easy to do. And smart Gabriel, okay? Gabriel doing it like this. Mega PR by Gabriel, too, to go against Victor Gyökeres. That is a rivalry that will be amazing to watch, because I do not think Gyökeres will go to Arsenal. Even though Arsenal is the team that needs Victor Gyökeres the most, I think Gyökeres will go to Chelsea or to Manchester United ahead of Arsenal. What's your prediction for the club here for Gyökeres, Luca?
I think probably Manchester United the favourites, just because of the Amorim links. But at the same time, maybe Gyökeres would be looking at saying every single player that goes to Manchester United hasn't really improved, and they seem to have bad luck with signing. So maybe that could be in the back of his mind. But I do agree with you. I think Arsenal, they're crying out for a top striker. They have been since 2022 when they wanted Dusan Vlahovic. But obviously Vlahovic chose a bigger club, so there's no...
But to be devil advocate here, the Manchester United signing, not recent signing, but it's improved a lot under Rúben Amorim, is Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo, and this is the thing, that Manchester United fans, don't be so alarmed, and don't stay that I'm not backing Rúben Amorim just because of Portuguese bias. I'm backing Rúben Amorim because at the age of 35 to 39, he won 2 trophies at Sporting, and they hadn't won a league title in 20 years. He improved Nuno Mendes, Pedro Porro, João Palhinha, Mateus Nunes, Giovanni Kenda, Gyökeres, Martin Huilman, all to top elite players. He's going to do the same at Manchester United. Amad Diallo, you can say he's better already. Mazrui, I've never seen Mazrui being talked so much in his career as he's now. He's improved them. And Højlund now scoring goals and actually having an idea in positioning of where he's going, like he had with who? Gasperini, okay? So Rúben Amorim is going to improve players. The immediate impact is already seen with improving the players. And look, giving a bit of demand. Okay, that's what I feel. I feel there's a bigger weight now in Manchester United's badge that deserves to have that weight because of the heritage. So a lot of players are going to leave. And the main reason, this is speculation, but my conspiracy for the Man United sacking of Dan Ashworth is because obviously Rúben Amorim didn't align and Omar Berrada with his thoughts. And I am absolutely sure they're going to do 3 shocking transfer windows with the idea of making Manchester United the best club in the world of football. So let us know down below your Premier League thoughts. And now here in the outro, questions of the podcast. Here, the first one to Luca. It's, will Lamine Yamal finish top 5 in the Ballon d'Or at the end of the season, Luca?
100%.
Shish.
100%.
This man is cooking. 100%. Why are you so sure?
I would even say top 3, guaranteed. I just think what Lamine does as a 17-year-old, I've never seen in my life. Even at the weekend, he's dragging Barcelona to points single-handedly. I think it's just, and even the 2 games before when he was injured, Barcelona didn't look the same. One injury to a 17-year-old throws off one of the biggest clubs in the world and one of the best one of the best performing teams in the world. It's not really heard of. So I think what Lamine's doing, and then obviously we consider the fact that Barcelona, if they were to win the La Liga and go far in the Champions League as well, then it's basically guaranteed. Like we were talking about Salah. Say Barcelona won the league and they won the Champions League, then he would win it. He would be the front runner to win it. So obviously it depends on what Barcelona do as well. But as a footballer, he's definitely top 5, definitely for me.
And what if Messi goes through in the FIFA Club World Cup group stage, mate?
Then I think Lamine might be second.
I love it. And another question here now for the English fans: who will be the next manager of West Ham? Is it Edin Terzic? Is it Graham Potter? What is your prediction here, Luca? Is it Sérgio Conceição? I would like for Sérgio Conceição to go there.
Maybe Conceição, maybe Allegri. My favorite manager.
Allegri, the West Ham. You gotta land that interview, mate. If Allegri's at West Ham.
If Allegri lands the West Ham job, I will be there. I will watch every West Ham game ever. Maybe Conceição, Eddie Howe, maybe. I don't know. It's a hard one. Who's the front runner at the minute? Is there one that's the favourites on the?
I think Terzic might be the front runner because he was an assistant manager when Bilic was there at West Ham. So there is a bit of there is a connection. But Graham Potter also because of the good job he did at Brighton. So yeah, interesting enough. And last question here, last 2 questions. It's if you were to do a top 3 or a top player of the Serie A, who would be your top 3 and your top player choice?
Or based off performances or just pure talent?
Based on performances. Your top 3 that you would say in a group of friends, like you're having now, a conversation.
Okay.
You'd be like, this guy's the best.
It's a tough one. Very tough. I would say number 1, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. I think he's the best player in the league. I think he's been the best player in the league since the Scudetto win, to be honest.
Joking.
I love Leao. I love the surf. I do. I really do. But I edge Kvaratskhelia slightly over Leao in the ranking. Personally, our personal preference, I think they're different wingers as well. I think he's quicker with the ball at his feet as well. It's more skillful, but I think Kvaratskhelia is more of a threat inside and outside of the box. He can also play the 10. He's more versatile. I think Kvaratskhelia is just super underappreciated. And I think he was getting I think Leao has more PR than Kvaratskhelia. That's why I think people that I know. Look, you watch the Serie A, Alex, so it's not.
He plays for Portugal.
He plays for Portugal too, but I think people in general that don't really watch the Serie A will have Leao over Kvaratskhelia just because they've seen him in the Champions League for Milan or they've seen him with Portugal and they don't really know too much about the Serie A. But I would say Kvaratskhelia. I think Rafa would be there, still top 3, but obviously this season. He's had some issues with the coach as well. Like, the coach is a bit of a fool anyway for dropping him and leaving him on the bench in a lot of games. And my third one would be so Rafa, Kavicha,
Bastoni?
Bastoni's. I would say Bastoni and Bremer are the two best centre backs. You could put Bastoni for his importance in his position as well. You could put. I would say talent. I'd still put Dybala top three, but he's just the injuries hinder
I
him a
love the
lot.
respect you give to Dybala. I love the respect that you give to Dybala. Would you say Dybala is the player that you fell in love the most with watching Juve in football?
Watching Juventus, yeah. He's my favorite Juventus player ever. And it's because I grew up with him and what he did for the club. The moments, the memories, is just, you can't replace it. You know, him and Pogba I grew up with. So for me, Dybala I always respect forever. You know, he's my second favorite. He's top three favorite footballer ever with Ronaldo and Neymar as well. But I love Dybala. But I wouldn't say Dybala this season. I'd say, okay, we'll go Kvaratskhelia, Leao, and then Bastoni's up there, Di Marco's up there, Thuram's up there. Pushing me for an answer. Çalhanoğlu's very important in this position.
No Lautaro.
Not this season.
Andrea Cambiaso.
I could put but guys, people gonna clown on me. No, I'll say Lookman's up there as well. To be fair, no, I'll say let's go Bastoni because I think right now he is the best centre back in the league, and I think he's a top 5 centre back in the world. And I think what he's done with Inter ever since Conte joined, from the 1920 season onwards, I just think he's improved season upon season. And
Lookman's a great shout too.
Lookman's a great shout
too, Luca.
But defenders don't really get as much love as attackers, so I wanna we'll throw some praise their way as well. So look, it doesn't, you know, it's pretty mad that there's no Juventus player in the top 3 because if you are like me growing up, the top 3 would have been all Juventus players, you know.
Exactly.
There is no
soon it's gonna be. It's gonna be me. And mentioning that it's a bit mad that you're mentioning Juventus, and shout out to Chico Conceição winning back to back the best player of the month for the fans for Juventus. Bora Chico Conceição, great player. You reminiscing a bit of Douglas Costa. Reminiscence.
Conceição he's brilliant to watch, man. I love the guy. I think the whole fan base has taken to him so well. He's become a fan favorite. He always wants to be on the ball, and when he's on the ball, he always wants to take a risk. He always wants to point the man, take him on. He can go on the inside, he can go on the outside. He's good with both feet. He's very creative. He's got a great final ball, good shot as well. He's brave. He reminds me, like you said, of Douglas Costa. Not the same play style, but the same mindset as Chiesa in his first year, in the sense that he wants to be on the ball, he wants to point the man, he wants to create chances. So a big fan of Conceição. Obviously, our top assist man, probably our most consistent performer alongside Cambiaso throughout the season so far. And he's great. He's great. And I really hope, because I feel like all eyes are going to be on the City Juventus game this weekend. I feel like that's one of the biggest games in the Champions League. So if Conceição can put up a good performance, which I think he will in that game, I think people could be putting him in that question of one of the best right wingers in Europe, which I think he deserves to be there this season. He's up there, man. And I'm not saying he's on the level of Salah and Lamine Yamal, but he's still top. I would say 10. Top 5. I could even say top 5.
Bold statements. Trincão too, playing great football here in Portugal. And my last question for Luca, since the transfer window is right next to us, who would be the 3 players that you would like to see join Juventus in January or in the summer transfer window?
Ooh, good question.
Clean slate.
Realistic or just ones I like?
I'd go realistic. I'd go a bit realistic.
I'd say
Jonathan David?
Jonathan David on a 3 is very realistic. That's very likely. We need a centre half for sure.
Scalvini?
Scalvini, I like Scalvini, but he's just come back from an ACL tear in 6 months, which is very, very odd for me. Like the fact that they've rushed him back that quickly, and I'm worried that he might get injured again. There's links with Dragusin, who was obviously ex-Juventus that went to Tottenham as a realistic centre-back option. I'm not too sure if I'm too convinced on that. I like, a dream one for me would be Osimhen, man. I want Osimhen. I want Osimhen. Osimhen is real. I think it's realistic too, because
I think so. I think so. Giantoli surely knows the agent
Of
of
course.
Cristiano Giantoli was the sporting director of Napoli, currently the sporting director of Juventus. Giantoli could convince Victor Osimhen to go to Juventus. If that happens, your favorites for the next Scudetto after this
I
season?
think so. And I think Osimhen, look, man, we've done it with Higuain, we can do it again. And Osimhen has a point to prove against Napoli. They disrespected him. So I think Osimhen would be the kind of person that would be like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go Juve and I'll show them what's up. And
It does raise the value of the Serie A
yeah,
because
for
a
sure.
strong Juventus, a strong Napoli, a strong Inter, and a strong Atalanta. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Last question, yeah, just popped in. Will we ever see Gasperini leave Atalanta, Luca?
Oof, good question. I feel like we've
No,
seen that.
right?
I don't know. I
Fairy
can't.
tale.
Yeah, I can't see him leaving because Gasperini was obviously great at Genoa, but we know him for his work at Atalanta, and he's built Atalanta into a proper
Exactly.
European favourite also as well. They beat Leverkusen in the Europa League last year, their first European trophy. They could win the Scudetto this season as well. They're on course to do it. They could be a dark horse in the Champions League as well. They play some of the most exciting football in Europe. They score a lot of goals.
38 goals in the league in 15 games.
Yeah, it's
11 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses.
yeah, it's very impressive. It's very impressive, and obviously he upgrades every single footballer. And there's no denying he's their greatest manager of all time. And I think
Oh yeah.
I personally watching the Serie A, growing up watching the Serie A, I can't see Gasperini managing any other team.
Love it. Great bold statement here at the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Luca, for doing this pod. Episode 11 here with me. If you're listening until now, like this video. Do some questions here down below. Follow Luca on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Go bold on every social, okay? And put more questions that you'd like to see here in the outro or intro of the podcast here with the questions of the podcast. Again, Luca, thank you for going bold with us, and good luck against Man City next week, because Juventus is always a European giant and a contender to win every game in European football. Go bold, people. And again, thank you, Luca, for coming here to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Alex. We went bold again, and I'm sure we're going to go bold in the future once more.